Wait, that's crazy. How did you do that? Why can't I do that? I don't even know where to start. What's up, everybody? I am Rooster. Welcome back. A few weeks ago, I put out a video about survival building and got an amazing response. Honestly, much more than what I was expecting. And in the wake of that, I am starting a brand new series about survival building. But before I start showing building tips and tricks and all of that good stuff, up first, I need to talk about a couple of problems that have come up and how I am planning to address them. In the meantime, I will be sharing more footage from my current no-death survival playthrough to showcase some updates to my builds. So, during a normal survival playthrough, I am building, but I'm not necessarily thinking about how to explain what I'm doing or why, or how to teach it. The focus for most of my content has been about no-death survival. More specifically, I am attempting to show that a no-death run on normal settings is achievable for virtually everyone, even if you aren't the greatest at combat. True story, I figured out how to beat the game without dying before I ever learned how to dodge roll. Anyway, the problem is this. I don't currently have enough footage and the right kind of footage to make enough good building content. The tricky thing is that building and creativity is tightly coupled with events that unfold during my playthroughs. I normally start one or more main builds during each playthrough, make them functional, and then over time I try to sculpt them into something more. Unfortunately, true survival builds are not something that can just be manufactured. Additionally, there is another problem that until recently I wasn't even sure how to articulate, let alone address. I tried to think, why is everyone so interested in building, and what about building do we all want more of? I tried to think back to how I felt when I was first starting out, making my first survival builds in Valheim. Whenever we look at other players' builds, we see a finished product. We typically don't get to see the decision making, the trial and error, the frustration. And if you are a new aspiring builder, it can leave you with more questions than answers, which is how I used to feel when I was starting out. And then it finally hit me. Unironically, the answer to my question was actually another question. The same sort of question we might ask a magician who dazzles us. How did you do that? I can show you at least some of what I know, but bear in mind that some of what I know cannot be taught. And no, I'm not bragging or anything like that. What I mean is I can explain building mechanics. I can lay out strategy for how to structure your builds, how to gather resources efficiently and use them wisely. I can even give you some step-by-step instructions. But what I can't teach you is how to make a build your own. Only you can figure that out. If you are struggling, you are welcome to copy exactly what I'm doing. That's totally fine. But once you start to feel more comfortable with building, I strongly encourage you, over time, start thinking differently. Because a true survival build is not something you make by following an instruction manual. It cannot be copied. Even if you copy 99% of someone else's build, never copy the full 100. Even though I am going to show you how to build certain things, it's not meant to be a blueprint for success. Instead, think of it as a guide to help you navigate your own journey as a builder. In my last survival build video, I mentioned how games can be more than the sum of their parts, and that Valheim is a game that offers us an opportunity for more. But you have to be willing to seize that opportunity, because the only way for a survival build in Valheim to feel more like a second home is to channel your inner creativity and make your builds truly your own. And when you do that, you imprint a piece of yourself in your build, something unique, something unapologetically you. Don't ever tell yourself that you can't, because if you do, you're lying. Everyone can be creative. You just have to try. Okay, so we want more content about building, but it normally takes a lot of time to make true survival builds. What do? The obvious solution is to just do stuff in creative mode, but it's not that simple. First off, I've never done it before. For some reason, anytime I've thought about it, the idea feels wrong. My building style is molded by a lot of things, but what ultimately holds true for all of my builds is that they are all made during a normal survival playthrough. I've recently started dabbling with mods, but the mods I am using don't alter the game mechanics or make the building resource gathering any faster or easier. Build restriction tweaks allows me to build near the Forsaken Stones, which is needed to spawn-proof the island. And plant everything unlocks the ability to plant certain items that cannot normally be planted in vanilla, even though they are fundamentally vanilla assets. For example, blueberry bushes. The way I am approaching making content for this series is to start a new playthrough and just start building. And to use some dev commands, but only when necessary and with certain restrictions. There will be at least one video per biome. Disclaimer, again, I don't fundamentally dislike creative mode, the builders who use it, or the builds that they make, because I love enjoying the builds that are shared with the community as much as anyone. But my goal isn't to make giant, elaborate structures. Even my current base is a little bigger than what's necessary. Instead, I want to show you how to make more modest builds. Something cozy and more practical. Something rooted in reality. And I think, at the end of the day, that's what we really want. We want to build something that's realistic and achievable during a normal game. I think we do want a little bit of material grind because knowing that you put in the work to gather those materials makes it feel special. It makes it feel earned. But at the same time, we don't want to spend hours and hours endlessly hitting stones with our pickaxe and chopping logs. It's about balance. And while that is subjective, I will try not to get carried away. Honestly though, I don't think this will be an issue because the way that I approach my builds is to make it functional first and then make it look nice. Second restriction, no fly mode. I don't know why this is a thing for me, but I will take the time to build scaffolding because during a normal playthrough, I don't like to make things that are crazy tall or elaborate multi-story structures for a number of reasons. Building up high is very risky, especially for a no-death playthrough. I've actually died whilst building during a no-death playthrough, and during this exact playthrough, I almost died after falling from the top of my chicken breeding tower because I didn't refresh my food. I've also died to a tree because I forgot to eat before I went out to gather wood during a no-death playthrough. Worst part is, I had a sick spot in the meadows and had just finished building a nice circular wooden room as the centerpiece of my build, and at the very center was a very rare, naturally spawned maypole. Yep, that one hurt. Still does. Okay, in summary, I am working on more building content. I am simulating a survival playthrough and compiling content to show you the answer. Just keep in mind, I am preparing to offer up versions of builds and instructions on how to make them, but these builds, by definition, will not be true survival builds. My real goal is to give you the tools, because I want you to feel the peace and calm that only your own survival build can deliver. And someday I want someone else to ask you the same question that many of you asked me earlier. How did you do that? Thanks for watching. This has been a fun journey so far, and I am glad to have had the opportunity to share it with you. Thank you, and until next time, stay chill.